Hi, I'm Jonathan with LazyLizard.net, and I made a video a few weeks ago about plugins, especially related to security. And I found out one of them is now outdated, no good anymore. So I thought I would make a new video to make a few points about this. So what I wanted to show you was, first of all, let me show you this plugin. Let's go to the screen. The plugin that I originally talked about was this one called Easy Updates Manager. Now, this updates all the other plugins on your WordPress site. It's a it was a very good plugin until I just found out recently it hasn't updated in a couple of months. Now, let's look at this. I want to teach a few lessons here for people who may be new to WordPress and make a couple of points that are good for you to keep in mind and to know about, especially as it relates to security of your site. This plugin, let's see, okay. So I went to it the other day. I was looking through my plugins and I noticed it was last updated 2 months ago. Well, that's always a worry. Why did they update it 2 months ago? I mean, things have changed. Usually plugin developers, when they're really on top of what they're doing, they update every couple of weeks, especially when they have popular plugins. Now, one point I want to make, first of all, how to choose a plugin and to do it in a safe and secure way. You want to look for this. You want to look, first of all, when was the last time it was updated? And you want to look at how many reviews they have, how many active installations they have. You also want to look at the reviews. If they're all 1-star reviews and low reviews, then forget it. I mean, don't even consider it. But normally a good plugin will normally look like this. Mostly a lot of 5 stars and a tiny little number of anything less than 5 stars. So on this one, they have 200,000 active installs. Normally that means that the developers are going to be very active in keeping it up to date. And these developers, I've used this plugin for I think about 5 years, and they've always kept it up. They've always done a great job. But here's what I want new people to WordPress to understand. The people who make plugins can be anybody. WordPress has no control at all over who puts plugins into the WordPress plugin store. And normally most of them are free. They're not, they used to all be free. They're not all free anymore. But anyway, WordPress really has no control over it. A little guy working in his garage with a computer typing some code can make a plugin, and he puts it up on the WordPress site, and people search, whatever he names it. If people search on that name, it'll come up and people will install it. They have no idea who he is. There are now a few big plugins that people are starting to recognize in every different area. There's Jetpack, there's Elementor, the editing program. There are all kinds of plugins that people recognize the name of now because they've been around for so long. If you recognize the name, and I suggest you look for kind of the brand names that people know about, you're more likely to be safe with a plugin from a company that has a known name. Why? Because they have a reputation to protect. People know about them. If anything goes wrong, it's going to be in the news and everyone's going to hear about it. Jetpack didn't take care of their plugin and it went bad and everybody got hacked. That's going to ruin them. But if you're some little guy in your garage, Harry over there, his plugin went bad and everybody got hacked. Who's Harry? Who cares? Nothing's going to happen to him. He wasn't making any money off of it in the first place. That's the other thing to understand. If you're getting a plugin from a no-name brand or guy or company, and it's free, just remember this. They don't make any money off of it. And if they do, it's very little. Most of these people do this on the side. They have other jobs that they have to make their living. They do this in their spare time. And when things start happening in their lives, what are they going to say? Oh, I got to go spend 20 hours this week working on my plugin that brings me in $5 a month? No, you can bet when their lives get busy, things start to get hectic. Maybe they had a baby, you don't know. anything could have happened. Maybe they lost their job and now they're panicking and they're depressed and they're not going to keep up the plugin. Just keep in mind, anybody and everybody who can write code can put a plugin on the WordPress site for you to download. So you have to be very careful. You want to look, first of all, how many installs they have. If they have 2,000, forget it. That person is not going to keep it up. Now you can keep an eye on it. If they have 2,000 this week and you think it looks great and you really want to try it out, check it next week. Maybe it'll have 4,000. If it's doubling every week, then it's becoming very popular and that person will probably be motivated to keep it up for a while. But the big lesson in this is this. You have to check your plugins every now and then. I would say once a month. Just go through all of them and look at the last time they were updated. If it's plugins you've been using for a long time, you want to go every month and manually check when is the last time they were updated. Now this one, Easy Updates, I went to this yesterday and it said updated 2 months ago. And I thought, whoa, that's not good. I like my plugins to be updated more often than every 2 months. WordPress updates, and normally plugins have to update when WordPress updates. So so check this out. Let's go back to the screen. You go here, it's version 8.0.5. That's the author. Now let's go to the plugin homepage. Oh, sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing. Okay. So I'm going to click into reviews. Here's one from July 11th, which was yesterday. And the guy says, apparently support for this plugin has ceased. That's your first sign. If you see that, that is a bad sign. If another user is noticing that that the developer is no longer supporting it, that's a big clue to you that maybe you don't want to be using it. Look, next one, followed every single troubleshooting step, but anything worked. Okay, I guess he meant nothing worked. That was a month ago. Then we have some 5-star reviews after that. But I'm worried about this one because this guy seems relatively articulate. He's explaining what happened, looking around the developer's GitHub. He checked into that. He said the last major activity was from 2 years ago on GitHub. That's where developers put all their files and comments and notes to themselves, and that's public. So this developer did that publicly. All right, so this does not look like a plugin I want anymore. Now, how I realized it was a problem and what made me go look is I started seeing when I logged into WordPress that there were some plugins that weren't getting updated. They were going more than 24 hours. This plugin was set to check every 12 hours. It automatically checked every 12 hours for updates. So I waited 2 days on one plugin and 3 days on another on a different site, and none of them updated. That's how I knew something had gone wrong. And then when I looked and saw it was updated 2 months ago, I thought this guy is no longer keeping this up. He's no longer maintaining this plugin because he probably didn't make any money at it. And he thought, so I have 200,000 users. I've gotten where I always wanted to be, and I'm not making anything. So he gave it up. That's it. You can't really blame the guy. Anyway, so I deactivated that, and I wanted to show you the one that I found to replace it. There's almost always one to replace it. It's this one, Companion Auto Update. And now let's look at the difference. Let's view the details. Now, this one was updated 2 weeks ago, all right? It doesn't have as many users, but it does have 50,000 users. And it has 41 5-stars and 1 4-star, and that's it. No other 3, 2, or 1-star ratings, which is good. So he updated it 2 weeks ago. I did read through some of the reviews, which for some reason are showing up down here. Anyway, people were pretty articulate about it. They had good things to say about it. So I installed it and I set it up. It's working so far. Now, one thing I wanted to show you about this one, Easy Updates Manager, there was no option to tell it when to update. It would check every 12 hours, which for the most part is probably okay. I mean, I never had any problems. That always worked. But this one lets you set it to a little it lets you fine tune it a little better. It can check once a day, twice a day, every 12 hours, or hourly. So I have set it to check hourly because here's what happens. Like I said, a lot of these plugins, they're written by some guy in a garage, and others are done by big companies who have a reputation at stake. The guy in the garage, if a problem comes along with his plugin, he's probably not even going to know about the problem till after it's affected a lot of his users. But the big companies like Jetpack, they're going to know about it right away. In fact, they'll oftentimes be informed of it by the hacker who's hacking for cash, basically, called ethical hackers, so-called. And they're trying to find holes in plugins, and they will report it to the companies, and the company can resolve it before it turns into a big mess. Well, a big company like Jetpack or some of the other big plugin developers, they're going to get that message, and they're going to fix it as quickly as they can, like right away. So if I have this set to check every hour, and they issued the fix 30 minutes ago, and it's something for a big, something that could be a big disaster if it's on your server for more than a few hours, like hackers could find it and exploit your site, get into it somehow and destroy it, whatever, steal all your information. So I just have it on hourly. If the guy fixes it at 2:36 in the afternoon and publishes the fix to the WordPress servers, by 3 o'clock, 24 minutes later, I'll have the fix on my site. Like literally, I won't go more than 30 minutes without the fix. And I guess I could go 59 minutes. Okay, but anyway, I'm not going to go that long. One consideration here. If you have a site that has a lot of complicated things on it, you may not want to check every hour, but here's the thing. You can select the plugins that you want it to update. Now let's say, let's see here. Let's say I don't want it to update Elementor. Just turn it off. So if updating this particular plugin would break my site, and I know it would break the site, you can turn it off there. Just turn it off and then update it manually. But if you know it's more than likely not going to break your site, leave them on. I leave them all on. I've left them all on for years. But the sites I work on for most of my clients are basic to medium level sites. I don't really have a lot of like huge giant sites. They're mostly basic to mid-level. So I've always left these on for everybody, for all whatever plugins they're running. Never once has it been a problem. So I recommend leaving those all on. Okay. Now status on this particular plugin, companion auto update, email notifications active. It says no. I don't know why it says no, because I did choose to have an email sent to me daily. Anyway, I have been getting those emails, so I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. They have a thing here, which for this particular site is annoying to me because this is just a demo site and I don't want Google to find it. But they give you a warning. It says you've chosen to discourage. Did they spell discourage with 2 S's? I believe they did. That's discouraging. You've chosen to discourage search engines from indexing your site. Auto updating works best on sites with more traffic. Consider enabling indexing. Now, I have no idea why this would work best on sites with more traffic. No idea. I don't. Anyway, I'm not going to fix that, so I have to look at that the rest of my life. But if you have if you're working on your real site that you actually use and you want traffic on, this obviously won't be a problem. You'll just turn that on if that's the case. Well, you probably won't have index discouragement set in the first place, so you'll be okay. You'll never see that. Advanced settings. So anyway, this is what I like, having it where you can tell it to update hourly. That's awesome. I love that. And that's basically it. So that is what happens when a plugin goes bad. The big lesson here is, even if you have an auto updater set to update everything every day, every hour, you got to go in and look at your site on the back end at least once a month. I know a lot of you have sites where you've done the site. It's basically static. It's good to go. It's for your business. You don't change anything. You don't need to change anything. So you have no reason to go look at the back end ever. You got to go look at the back end once a month and make sure everything's updating properly, because if it's not, you are going to get attacked eventually. I talked to a guy today. His site was hacked 2 weeks ago. He fixed it. He thought he got it fixed, and then it got hacked again. Well, you know why it got hacked again? Because he didn't really fix it. He didn't find all the code, the malicious code they had put on his server. So he had to spend a good amount of money, a couple of $100, to get an expert to come in and fix everything up for him. But most of those hacks come through bad plugins. They come from plugins that have had holes and exploits discovered in them that either the developer hasn't fixed or the developer has fixed, but you haven't downloaded to your site. All right. So this is to encourage you, to encourage everyone to keep these things updated all the time. Thanks for watching. I hope you'll check out some of my other videos. I'll have a couple of links on the screen, and see you next time.